Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer, and this is a video about the new moon in Gemini taking place on June 18th at 12:36 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. This is the lunar update for the Divine Connection Collective, or the Twin Flames. Um, if you haven't had an opportunity yet to have a listen to the Lightworker Energy Update, which is the more general update that I pulled together for Lightworkers in the community before listening to this, I highly recommend it. There's an extended first look section at the end where I cover the dates of the Venus retrograde and what to expect as we are entering the beginning of Venus retrograde season with this particular lunation, and that one's going to be especially important where it comes to love. So definitely have a listen for that. The reading calendar is open, so if you'd like to book some time to look at your chart and your personal Venus retrograde themes, I highly recommend you do that before we get to the end of June, where we will be already in the thick of the beginning of the Venus retrograde themes. All right, let's do this. We've got this lovely new moon taking place here in Gemini, conjunct our divine feminine energy, that's Juno. And this is an interesting new moon because there's some influential Neptune and then a lot of Chiron speaking at this particular lunation. And that combo of like Chiron and Neptune, it's not my favorite. I don't like to see that when it comes to love because the combo can create triggers and confusion, and where there's a lack of clarity, and then on top of that, woundedness in the energy space. And I go through all the different ways that is up and how to work with that in the Lightworker Energy Update. That can lend itself to people making very poor decisions in relationship, in connection, in love. It can lend itself to people grasping for clarity and forcing some via things like projection, meaning making, storytelling, a lot of cognitive distortion stuff that we worked with and worked through last year. And I remember talking extensively about cognitive distortions during at least one, if not two or three lunar updates, because there was a strong opportunity for us to deal with that and get our cognitive distortions, at least become aware of our favorite cognitive distortions that can get us into a place of relationship turmoil if we're not conscious about this energy. If you're not familiar with the cognitive distortions, I definitely recommend having a Google. I won't be going through them here, but they can certainly, understanding what they are and your personal go-tos when it comes to them can help you navigate this energy with a lot more acuity and a lot more ability. Now, we've got Neptune in conversation with Juno and with the new moon energy. We've also got a conversation going on from Chiron to the new moon energy, as well as a conversation with Pallas. There's a sextile from both Pallas and Chiron, and a trine to Haumea, creation goddess, who's in the process of tearing down things that she previously, or she no longer has use for, that she previously created, specifically in the arena of relationships at this time, as she dances with the South Node because she's in Libra. Libra deals with relationships. And so South Node opens up as a portal, an exit point, toilet, if you will, for us to flush out anything that we no longer need in arena of a relationship. When she's retrograde conjunct to one of the nodes, right now it's the South Node. So there's a lot of releasing going on of old created relationship patterns, dynamics, and relationships themselves as we move through this particular lunation in our divine feminine energy fields, because it's the divine feminine speaking to the new moon here in Gemini from the sign that deals with our thought forms, our mindsets, our communication patterns. During this new moon, you may find that there are some thought forms, communication patterns, mindsets in relationship that surface that no longer serve you. that come up when there is confusion, come up when there's a lack of clarity, come up when there is a liminal space or something in between going on in relationships. Some people call this the no labels dating space, where things aren't official. Some people call this a situationship. Some people call this, I don't know what we are. It's just a connection, right? When you get into this kind of space and things can be uncertain for folks, this is when you see folks bring out all of the things and coping strategies that they do when uncertainty is part of the process. The best thing you can do with this energy is to offer clarity where you have it, be in communication where you can provide it, and to ask yourself good questions about what's happening for you, because in this energy, you're going to be able to catch a lot of your own thoughts where they have been unhelpful and unconstructive for you. I go into great depth about this in the Lightworker Energy Update. But for now, when we're looking at this for divine counterparts to bridge and build off of that conversation, what we have here at the twins new moon, we had the divine masculine's new moon. In fact, we had two of those, one at the beginning of the sign of Aries, one at the end this year. We also had a divine feminine's new moon at the new moon in Taurus. Now we've got the twins new moon. We've got a new moon in Gemini itself. This organizes a new energetic cycle with new themes for those who identify as twin flames or as divine counterparts. It's an important one because thematically this kicks off the pre-shadow phase of the Venus retrograde. And I'm just going to quickly run through those dates with you. I won't run through the themes because I did that in the Lightworker Energy Update. You can have a listen there if you're curious. But we've got the pre-shadow phase on June 19th at the 12th degree of Leo. And here's Venus here at the 11th degree of Leo. And I'm bringing it up here because it is a love-focused Venus retrograde. So we've got the pre-shadow phase on June 19th. We've got the retrograde on July 22nd. We've got Venus stationing direct on September 3rd. And then we've got the post-shadow phase ending on October 7th. So between June 19th and October 7th, these Venus retrograde themes are going to be up. And this particular new moon in Gemini kicks off the beginning of it. And it's coming in with that liminal space and Neptune's kind of cloudiness in clarity about what is this? What's happening here? And even if you and your person are like together in some kind of full union, there could be some level of like new chapter that has opened and things are just kind of like, wait, what? What are we doing? What's this new chapter? How do we do it? What do we want here? Let's define it. Thematically, what's come up here and through July 22nd is a prelude, like I said, to our Venus retrograde themes. And everything that's happening now through July 22nd is kind of a warm up. It's like, okay, here's some thematics that I know might come up and it's going to give us a clue as to what needs our attention between now and July 22nd. Okay. And so it's important to pay attention now. There's a lot of ways in which we're going to be able to catch some of our thoughts, catch some of what our mind does. There's a level of consciousness available with this particular new moon because of the way Mercury is in conversation with Saturn at this lunation, giving some like real ability to see like, oh, look at me telling that story that she's just like my mom. Oh, she's not like my mom. And look at me just telling that story all over again. Amazing how my mind just goes there. Somebody stop me. You're going to be able to really catch yourself in that particular kind of way. We're going to be able to see the machinations of your own mind and get yourself to a place of interrupting patterns that have not been helpful. Okay. For reasons I won't go into here, having to do with Chiron's communication with the new moon and literally just about all the personal planets, Mars, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Juno. Because Chiron is so heavily in the conversation, there's a lot and Chiron's not directly talking to Juno as much as Chiron is speaking to all of the personal planets in this very intimate way, asking us to really take stock of where our woundedness is getting in the way of us being able to start anew in relationship. We can expect that during this lunation that there's going to be some triggers having to do with Chiron's influence. None of these are really like counterpart specific, but they're definitely influencing individuals' mindsets and likely behavioral sets. So I'll leave you to take a look at the Lightworker energy update for that, because that's collectively something all of us will deal with, not just divine counterparts, but we are part of the collective. Okay. There will also, within this, be opportunities to transcend the triggers, transcend the wounding. And I talked about how to do that over there as well. Directly in our divine feminine energetic field, we have some new beginning energy in her field. And that's really anchoring the connection and communication at this time, because she sits in the sign of communication. And in classical astrology, Juno does represent connection. She represents marriage. So stay open to communication, stay open to, sharing, divulging, being more vulnerable, being more transparent to the degree that you're able to, if that's something you're looking for, trying to give that where it is that you're experiencing stuff, share what's up for you. Okay. And there's even there's a small amount of Chironic influence here, because Chiron is speaking so heavily to the new moon, and to some fashion to her. There's some Chiron influence there where her own triggers, her own woundedness might be up. And you may find for yourself, there may be some stories around your own not enoughness that are really triggering maybe certain behaviors or certain things that you're seeing come out of yourself at this time. Now, she's in a direct square to Neptune, right? And we know Neptune deals with fog, it deals with the arts, it deals with projection, reflection, mirrors, right? Deals with our connection to the liminal space, that space in between worlds. And it's giving her the opportunity for transcending old patterns in connection and breaking free so that she can do some new things. This is a chance for her to offer some new behaviors, offer up a new communication style, because she's sitting in the sign of communication. And behaviorally, she is indeed speaking to Mars, which deals with actions to a lesser degree, but the communication between her and Mars is there. And it may be unclear how that's going to be received or what the impact will be until we get to the other side of this energy on June 29th. But by then, we're well into our Venus retrograde themes. So mind what you're putting out there and what's happening for you in connection, because the mirror feedback loop is likely pretty loud right now with Neptune in the mix in her field. So, as I was mapping this out, I was hearing, internally, like, imagine if all of your insecurities are the same insecurities your counterpart has too. Shock, scandal. Imagine what that would be like if both of you are bringing the exact same uncertainty or what ifness to the table, and it's expressing itself in the same way in both of you. With this Gemini energy, we've got a mirror energy there. With Neptune energy, we're also dealing with mirrors as well. So there's a lot of mirroring energy that could be going on here, where both people are having an experience through their divine feminine energetic fields of mirroring woundedness, mirroring triggers, mirroring motivation to figure these things out, mirroring internal thought patterns at the same time. Okay. It could seem very not possible that your insecurities could be their insecurities, that they could be the exact same. But I'm telling you, it is here. It is in the chart, and as close to black and white as I can read it based on all the colors here. But that's what's happening here. There's a lot of mirroring triggers that are there in the divine counterpart in energetic fields at this time. So just be mindful with how what you're telling yourself about what the other person is doing, whether you identify in some format of union or you identify in some format of separation. Just be mindful of the stories you're telling yourself. And if you know you have a particular pattern when it comes to the way you show up in connection above and beyond just your divine counterpartship, now is a really great time to have a conversation about that relationship pattern and how to transmute it. Every person who's ever been cheated on, the reason for that is always different according to each chart. So if you know that's a pattern for you, maybe something that's coming up now, now's the time to look at how do I transmute this? Every single person who is in a relationship and finds that they get clingy, there's different reasons for that in your chart. It's very unique and very personal, and you can move through the chart and see, okay, this is coming from this aspect, this placement, this house, and get yourself into the light instead of operating in the shadow, which is a better place to be as we embark on the love themes of the Venus retrograde that's coming up pretty quickly here. Being in the light is going to help you. So if you want to have a look at that, you can book with me over at kmoonastro.com, and we can look at rewriting some of your love patterns so that you can have a new launch point from here forward into the arena of love. Now, in our divine masculine energy fields, there's Jupiter there in Taurus. We have Jupiter in conversation with a Venus Mars conjunction. We call this a square. Sorry, that's a square from Taurus where he sits to Leo where Venus and Mars sit. And that creates a ton of passionate, motivated energy to put ourselves first, to really nurture ourselves, to care for ourselves in the third dimension. That's where he sits in the earth sign of Taurus. And it's an energy of opening up new timelines because of the way he's in conversation still, and he's been in conversation for the last several lunar updates. He's in conversation still with the North Node, and this is a timeline opener kind of conversation. And so there's opportunities flowing in through the divine masculine energy fields. There's lots of growth flowing in through these energetic fields. There's lots of choices flowing in through these fields to really care for and nurture. That's Taurus, specifically at this lunation, ourself, so that we are sovereign human beings. That's Leo. Okay. What's interesting about this is that as I look at this for both counterparts and really start to understand how there's a mirror there, because there is, her field is opening up to new behaviors and thoughts because Mars is speaking to her. She's in Gemini. In his field, it's opening up to new timeline through behavior. It's like the divine feminine energetic field holds the connection. And for her, it's through the mind. The divine masculine energetic field holds the timeline. And for him, it's through the body. And there's a really beautiful energy here that's allowing union energy to anchor in the third dimension if you can let it. I've actually received a lot of emails to this effect in the last couple of weeks where people are like, oh my God, the first 4 months of this year, there was some sort of shift. Everything in my connection changed. And now I'm on this new timeline. And so if that's you, awesome. You can still cultivate, create a new timeline. I definitely talked about that in the Lightworker Energy Update. So have a listen to that if that's something you want to do. Especially because these two are in harmonious conversation with each other. They're in a conversation that we as astrologers would consider sextile. And so that creates a lot of harmony where the work is being done. Harmony from sextiles requires our effort. They don't just the harmony doesn't just kind of fall out from the sky the way that it would if it was a trine or a conjunction. With sextiles, to get the benefit of them, we do actually have to put in effort. And so in the divine masculine energy field, the effort is through our actions. And in the divine feminine energy fields, the effort is through our mindsets and what's coming out of our mouth. So you guys may remember what I was saying in the last Lightworker energy update. Hopefully you had a chance to listen to that, where I was talking about how the energy of the last lunation really demanded us to have our attention on what we were thinking and train our brain to bring in thoughts of a very specific nature. In doing that, we're basically training our brain to walk beside us like a dog on a leash that doesn't strain or pull or walk us right out into traffic chasing squirrels. This is the kind of thing where the benefit, if you were able to do that at the last lunation, now you're really going to see the benefit of being able to, with your mind and with your mouth and with your actions and your behaviors, you're going to be able to see the benefit of the rapid manifestation of the things that you called in. Okay. Now, the trick with this is in the divine feminine energy fields to utilize your mind and your mouth to speak it as you want it, regardless of what it looks like or how you feel. And in the divine masculine energetic fields, to behave as if you've already got it or take behaviors that call it in. Sorry, I had to mute myself there. Take behaviors that call it in a way that allows you to align yourself with it behaviorally. So this is the equivalent of like, yo, I really want to be a piano player. And even though when you sit down to practice, it sounds like absolute garbage right now because you're new at playing piano. This is the equivalent of being very intentional about practicing anyway with your spare time. Instead of like, oh, I'm going to go out and play with my friends because, I'm stuck at playing piano right now. You're not going to get better without practicing. It just, kind of common sense, but, bears repeating sometimes for all of us, right? So it may your knees may be shaking, your voice may be wobbly, but still take the action, speak it out of your mouth, allow yourself to be in alignment with that which it is you're trying to cultivate and create. Okay. Now, for those of you who identify in some format of separation, when you look at your connection, there's an opening here with the two of these sextile that constitutes what I would call a communication window or a chance for coming together or reconnection, which is awesome. The key to this is to let the uncertainty be and to stay connected anyway. Okay. Now, for those identifying in some sort of union in any fashion, there can be a sense of some new chapters have opened between you. There's some super fertile energy here to explore how you want the new chapter to go. There's loads of opportunity to share your dreams, your desires with one another. There's loads of opportunities to share kind of what's new with each of you. If there's some new stuff surfacing, there certainly should have been, given the way the first part of the year went, some new thoughts that you guys are entertaining. Even if you're together, there's a new version of you that's emerging. And one of the questions I really love to have couples answer when couples come to work with me is, if you could have it all your way, how would that look? And let the other person hear the answer to that question, because it can liberate us of our meaning making and bring us closer when we hear from another person the truth of what they want and why they want it. It can liberate us from thinking they're behaving XYZ way because of A, B, and C and telling all these stories, and get us into the place of just understanding another person and where they want to go and figuring out how we can support them by just listening. Okay. It's going to be, I'm going to be honest, in this energy, because of Neptune's influence on the marriage creator here, Juno, the divine feminine energy, the one that actually holds the commitment energy. It's going to be really easy in this energy to misunderstand what's happening with a close person, or to see an action and then presume where it comes from or presume why it's happening, and then completely miss the opportunity to be connected. So for those in connection, now is a really great time to listen more than you're speaking. Ask open-ended questions. Create space for the unknown to be safe by reinforcing with one another what's going well, what feels good. Reinforce that within yourself. Remind yourself, this is going well. I feel good. This is new. That's new. I'm in a new season. I'm in a new chapter. Things are unfolding new in connection. Give that feedback to yourself, but also give it to others, because it will really allow whatever is up in the air to become something you guys can explore together in a constructive way rather than a way that can undermine connection. So I really like to see that. It's an exciting time, this new moon in Gemini. The twins new moon is unfolding a new chapter that's giving way to a lot of deepened spiritual connection, co-creative opportunities in thought and action between both counterparts. So take advantage of this while you guys have this energy in play. Like I said, if you want to get a reading with me, you want to look at the Venus retrograde themes. You want to look at themes in your relationship world, either with your person, the two of you can come for a couples reading, or individually. You really just, you're done working in certain ways romantically. You're ready to have a new story. You can book with me over at K Moon Astro, and that'll be an opportunity for us to unfold your new beginning with some conscious clarity in the midst of being in this liminal space where we can go this way or we could go that way, but the choice is ours. Okay. I love you guys. This was so much fun. Thanks for letting me read for you. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, definitely subscribe so that you can get the information first. Turn off that notification bell so you can get the intel before the new moon hits when I post it. Thanks so much. Take great care and bye for now.